Well, we'll keep going with one more thing, because and this is back to Rachel Glover and the rebuttal, which we talked about and Now, I had to go looking to see, because you said everything's been answered, but it definitely seems to, for my going through everything, there's a couple of things that weren't fully done. Copyright issues, for instance, you haven't quite dealt with that one.
Well, we have, Paul, because we've said quite clearly we refute those allegations. We don't agree with them, and that's the department's statement. And
just because we did it last week, we don't need to go over the whole thing again, but people have been puzzled with this our interview, and it even got brought up, didn't it, in question time and thing. Why you just can't simply produce this piece of paper which has that allegation and then your rebuttal, allegation, rebuttal, rebuttal?
Because effectively we have to remember when the interview was done. So we did the interview, and that was before we actually were invited along to the Public Accounts Committee. In fact, in our interview, Paul, I emphasised the fact, and I think the quote I used, and I actually quoted the full quote in Keys, was actually the fact that we looked forward to appearing. We hoped the committee would invite us because that was the correct place to do it.
But this is, I'm just, one of the public here on this one. Why can't you just put that in an order that the general public can go through?
I don't think it now achieves anything. Because
don't you think it looks wrong?
I don't think it achieves anything.
Really?
Paul. For some reason, there seems to be a group of people who are determined to try and create some sort of spat. That
you can sort it. You can sort it. You can sort it in a few seconds. You can go back to the typewriter and go, there it is.
From interviews I've done with you, from my evidence to the Public Accounts Committee, we've submitted tons of evidence.
Why can't you just put it down on a piece of paper there?
That is all we've got to say on the topic.
It's interesting, though, isn't it?
We issued a press release on the 17th as well, of the 17th of April, I think it was, which also addressed some of the issues.
Are you happy with how you dealt with this then? Let's try that.
I am content.
You're happy that you're not going to produce out this great little list of rebuttals, and it's done. You said everything. You've said everything you want to say.
If we had not been invited before the Public Accounts Committee, then we would have had to look to
respond
in other ways.
Staff working hours and hours and hours. Remember, we had this conversation.
And then we got invited to the Public Accounts Committee, and all of that has been submitted to the PAC.
So the public should have nothing to worry about. Everything has been dealt with. There may be some legal issues that I don't know about. You can talk about this then, but you couldn't talk about the other thing. So this one hasn't got a legal gagging order on you in any way.
Certainly not that I'm aware of. Maybe I'll find out after this interview, but no, certainly not. I mean,
just let's put the public at ease here, because they'll watch this and they'll draw conclusions, and it will set a few hairs running. Why you can't do this? Why you can't talk about that? It does seem for the first time that you are slightly on the back foot, maybe on how it's being perceived by the public. I know you can pull that look and oh my goodness, you can't believe that. But okay, we'll end with this one. Go on.
Yeah, well, like I said, Paul. So, with relation to the rebuttal, the reason we were going to go for a point-by-point rebuttal was because we had not been invited to the Public Accounts Committee. We had no other forum in which to get evidence out there. Right. I said very, very clearly in our interview, and it's online for people to go back and listen to. If they,
the one-man press conference.
Yes, you were one-man press conference as came up. But it's there online for people to go back. And I was very, very clear in that interview that I hoped we would be invited to the Public Accounts Committee because that was the correct place to do it.
Is this the last?
We actually then received an invite to the Public Accounts Committee. Myself, I've given personal evidence, the CEO has given evidence, and the Public Accounts Committee has been furnished with
this is over.
Tons of pages.
These are not the drawings you're looking for. Move on. This is what you're saying, basically, isn't it?
Well, what I'm saying is we have put out exactly everything we wanted to put out.
And
between your interview, the PAC,
and others,
interviews I've done on Manx Radio. I mean, I've spent an awful lot of time answering on this issue. Which I'm more than happy to do, as with any other issue.